There's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
So, both Hellraiser and Werewolf by Night dropped today, and like I said earlier, in my Super Mario Brothers movie review for the teaser, I said I was going to watch them, and I might do a stream about them both today or tomorrow, so I decided to do it today. So yeah, let's talk about it. I'm gonna start with Hellraiser first. So I gotta say that I've heard some positive things about Hellraiser. I've heard that it was honestly, basically much like the first one. It's great, just like the first one. It feels just like the first one. But in my Facebook post, about a couple hours ago, I'd say maybe 30 minutes ago, I put that it was probably on the level between the very first Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2. And I'm sticking by that. I also got it a 7 out of 10 rating. For that, I'll tell you why. But anyway, so basically the plot is that a rich benefactor by the name of Roland Vaught is basically sacrificing people to the Cenobites so he can basically call on Leviathan, which is the Cenobites' gods, basically God, the Cenobites' god, so he can get powers from it. So the plot there basically seems like it's really, really alike, and shamefully so, that they basically, the plot is basically like Hellraiser 2. Besides the fact that instead of a surgeon wanting to be like this all-powerful god by the use of Leviathan, it is a basically billionaire benefactor, and he does actually, both of them do collect lament configurations. So yeah, it's, and Clive Barker basically wrote this, so I don't know why he basically ripped off Hellraiser 2. That I don't understand. Because like I said, it's basically the same plot as Hellraiser 2, but the main baddie isn't a fucking surgeon or and it's not taking place in a sanitarium. It takes place in a apartment, and then Roland Vaught's house, um, mansion or whatever. So yeah, it's just basically it's basically the plot of Hellraiser 2, But I mean, does it basically make this movie bad? Not really, but it does put a stain on what I really like about the movie. Um, and them saying that it's basically like people saying that's basically as good as the first one, even though, like I said, it's just a plain ripoff of Hellraiser 2. And like I said, I don't understand why Clive Barker did that. I don't know. But you do get a lot of Cenobites in this. You get new Cenobites, loads of new Cenobites in this. And you get one, basically, cheddar, which is basically which has been there since the beginning. I'm pretty glad that they brought cheddar back. I like the new look. Yeah, it's just so glad that they brought him back. I have a pop of him, so it's you know I kind of like cheddar. Wish that Butterball was back. I wish that he was back as well, but you know, um, maybe in the second movie. I don't know. Maybe in the sequel, and hopefully it's not a ripoff of, you know, um, another sequel this time. But anyway, main plot is basically, like I said, the same as Hellraiser 2. Then we follow the final girl, Riley. We get introduced to her boyfriend, I guess. Um, Trevor, her brother Matt, and a bunch of other roommate characters. That's about it. But like I said in my Facebook review, they're not annoying Gen Z characters you know like I thought they were gonna be. The only tiring part is the basically the overprotective brother, aspect of it. But besides that, that's about it. Hi Kyle, I'm doing good. How are you? Sorry, I just saw your comments. Anyway, but yeah, so Trevor wants him and Riley to basically break into this warehouse, um, and see what's there to steal. He doesn't know who owns it. He doesn't know who basically um, basically owns the warehouse or what's in it. So they break in and appreciate that, Kyle. Um, Break in and then they find a safe, and then they break in because, of course, Trevor knows the combination to get in, but you know um, there's different reasons for that. Not because he knows combination, but anyway. So they find a safe. They basically break the safe finally, and then in it is another box, and a metal box, and then they open that box and the limit configuration is in it. It is in like the box, square box shape. We also get some different versions of the unit configuration, basically. So yeah, another fight happens, and then basically Riley gets kicked out uh, of her brother's house. Basically, takes a bunch of pills, that she threw on the ground, and basically goes into like this drug infused trip where she actually opens, she solves the box. Sorry about that. Anyway, she solves it the first time, and she sees one of these Cenobites in kind of this drug trippy way. I really like how the very first Cenobite is revealed.
Hayden's got a peppermint container.
Sorry about that. I love how it is in a drug trippy way. Um, you don't see the engineer, um, female engineer, until a bit later. You do see her, and kind of like she shows up when Joey dies, but it's kind of blurry. Um, you know, so yeah. She looks great. Like I said, all the Cenobites are great. I'm glad that there's so many Cenobites in this. And they all look great. They have their own, kind of unique style, look, and name. Um, Maybe I'll get into that later, hopefully. Um, so, hold on. Give me a second. Again, sorry. Okay, sorry, I had to message. I had to message Chantel in a sec for something. But anyway, so yeah, Matt finds her passed out on one of the well, she's passed out in basically like this playground park. Takes her. Um, he basically he accidentally cuts himself with the limited configuration and takes her like right by the bathroom, sits her by the wall, and basically goes into the bathroom and washes his hands, uh, and then
Sit.
anyway, and then basically what happens now is that once the blade cuts you, the blood gets absorbed into the configuration, and that releases the Cenobites. So that happens, and it basically makes a new uh, configuration. Um, he, they need like I think it was 5 or 6 people, maybe more, and those equal the configurations that need to be released, so that Leviathan can be basically released. Um, so Matt is the second death. Um, he dies off screen, sadly, uh, but I do like that when like the Cenobites appear, like it has that little cool blue tint, cool blue tint that was prevalent in the original when they appeared. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, Matt dies off screen, which kind of sucks. But and then Raleigh is left basically to figure out what's going on. She figures out that basically, as I said, um, several limit configurations have to be made, and several sacrifices have to be made. So, and then one final, so that the Leviathan can grant the user uh, powers of resurrection, um, lust or whatever. So she tells us to Trevor, and they go to this little hospital where the benefactor of Vaught is basically kept, and they talk about the warehouse, and um, the benefactor of Vaught, I forget what her name was, but anyway, she says that it was in my lease, but it's not mine. And she asks what they found there, and basically Riley puts the limit configuration on the table, um, and Trevor leaves to grab some kind of medicine or something because the benefactor is now dying from lack of oxygen. She has a oxygen machine anyway, and mask. So while Riley wasn't looking, she takes the limit configuration, the benefactor, and in the struggle with Riley, opens up and she gets stabbed by the blade, and that calls the that calls the Cenobites, and she becomes the third death. So Riley leaves and goes to Vaught's home to figure out, a bunch of answers. There's lock rooms, and there's it's a pretty cool place. It's a pretty cool part of the movie where location of the where the movie takes place. Anyway, Trevor brings the two roommates. One was the boyfriend of her brother, and another one. So the girl, I forget what her name was. The girl roommate gets stuck behind a wall, and she gets stabbed by the Women Confederation by someone. And we figure out it's Fought. Um, and so they all try and leave in this van, and then um, basically the girl is bleeding out. She passes out. She goes into like this different dimension, and then we finally see um, the engineer and Chatter, and basically instead of chains, the engineer basically pulls her with the chains and takes two of her pins and sticks the pins in her jugular and turns her around, and basically in a pretty good kill, um, Chatterer basically is there and basically takes her head off, and so therefore her body disappears and she's basically hell, I guess you could say. Um, if you want to go by the later movies, I mean, in the original they were just basically interdimensional. The Symbiotes were basically interdimensional beings that were basically um, were confused about pleasure and pain and whatnot. But anyway, then they became like demons and part of hell, and Lucifer. They followed Lucifer, and it's all this weird kind of tangled history. But I kind of like what that they were liked it better what they were not demons, just inter dimensional beings or whatever. But anyway, so Riley runs away and finds a river and is going to throw the Limit Configuration in the river, and the engineer stops her and tells her that more limit configurations need to be made and sacrifices need to be made. The Cenobites want her to succeed so she can call Leviathan their god, because Riley wants to resurrect Matt, which the Cenobites basically know and uses that to basically so they can have more sacrifices. Which basically the Cenobites basically trick people. So yeah. So they go back to the house, and the final length of the movie happens. In a very shitty way. The next sacrifice is basically Chatterer, when Chatterer is trying to run after Riley, and before when they were leaving in the van, basically, forgot to mention, Chatterer basically runs after, Riley, and Trevor basically gets caught in the gate and basically gets stabbed by the blade in the limit configuration, and basically gets pulled apart by chains. Just walks backwards and accepts that he's gonna die, and just like gets torn apart by chains. Kind of sucks that they killed an OG Cenobite like that. And I think it's kind of cheating, but because it's not a human sacrifice, it's a Cenobite. But yeah, kind of sucks. But anyway, they go back to the house, and then the main plot, the last part of the plot begins, which is basically Riley has this plan to basically sacrifice another Cenobite. So basically, they can summon Leviathan that way instead of sacrificing um, Matt's boyfriend or Trevor. So they go into the house, and it's revealed they basically close a Cenobite, one of the cool Cenobites. It's basically called I forget what it's called. Suffolk. I don't know what it's called, but it's like suffocation Cenobite or something. Um, like I said, I'll look at that later. But anyway, sorry about that again. Um, Plot's revealed, and basically, um, says that these Cenobites can't harm him. Chains don't reach me because they're basically enclosed in a gate. He's in the middle of the where he built where two enclosed gates, in a little area. But anyway, the doors open, and the engineer comes towards Vaught, and basically during this time, um, another Cenobite. Sorry for all the pauses, but just lots of background noise. But anyway, so basically, Vaught gets um, the kind of like piston that's inside his body that was given to him by uh, Leviathan. Um, it gets taken away, and he is basically pulled out into Leviathan. And at the end, he becomes a Cenobite, just like, of course, in Hellraiser 2. Matt's boyfriend gets saved when a deal is made for Trevor instead of uh, the the male roommate, Matt's boyfriend, which I forget his name, but anyway, and Trevor gets killed basically off screen, and that's basically the final death of the movie. And like I said, if this movie wouldn't have been a total ripoff of Hellraiser 2, I would have liked it way better. And yeah, it's just, but it's still a good film. So, like I said, 7 out of 10, basically. So, we're going to go into Werewolf by Night, which, by the way, I really, really loved. Um, the intro, like, I loved the intro for, the new intro for the MCU. Basically, had wolf howls, it had slashes, it had, like, at the very end when Marvel, basically the letters of Marvel basically um, was put together. Um, there was like electricity. It's all in black and white. Like I said, it's a great callback to, like I said in the teaser or trailer way back when. It's a good callback to Universal Monsters. Universal and Universal Monsters when they made Universal Monsters in the 30s and 40s. Um, and it's basically all in black and white until the very end, which is okay. It's still good aesthetic. There's like cigarette burns. There's like little blips when you see in old films, little blips. I wish there was a missing rail part. That would have like sealed the deal. But anyway, basically Ulysses Bloodstone, which is basically um, a hunter in the Marvel universe. He's in the comics. Um, maybe I'll do a side by side about what he looks like in the comics, his comic origin. Basically, dies in the Bloodstone, again used in the comics and used by Ulysses as power. Um, the Bloodstone gives him super strength and endurance and all these superhuman abilities. But in like the MCU, it's basically has multiple. It has basically multiple uses, like immortality, like just like in the comics, or it grants people whatever power they desire. And the Bloodstone's up for grabs for whoever gets to slay this monster, which, by the way, it turns out to be Man Thing. They're fighting Man Thing and they're fighting each other, to get the Bloodstone. Man Thing looks great. He basically burns two people, one in the face and the other, she he grabs, and the effects on it looks kind of iffy. They could have fixed it better, but that's the only gripe that I have. Um, but it's still, Man Thing still looks great, and I'm glad that his introduction to the MCU is, good, really good. And in the room is a bunch of hunters, uh, plus Elsa Bloodstone, um, Ulysses Bloodstone's daughter, um, and uh, Jake Russell, which of course is in the teaser, which is also Werewolf by Night, the werewolf. But anyway, so and of course, trying to figure out what her name was. And of course, Veruza, which is the widow of Ulysses Bloodstone. But anyway, um, as seen in the teaser, the kind of mechanical corpses, Ulysses Bloodstone, basically says that you have to hunt this monster to get the Bloodstone, and there's weapons all around the garden. So anyway, they go into the garden, and I gotta say, like it looks really, really good. Um, right off, there's like multiple mazes, doors. It's amazing. But anyway, so Elsa runs into the Joven, the Scottish hunter with an axe, basically fights him down and takes his axe and runs away. Uh, and then gets attacked by another hunter called Baruso, with a crossbow. And basically, she basically uh, pins his arm to the door to the room where he's at, and basically cuts off his arm with an axe, and there's like blood everywhere. I mean, it's great. Like the blood and gore, like I said, the blood and gore in here is just amazing. So anyway, Brusso fights one armed and basically gets stabbed in the neck by gets gets stabbed in the neck by an arrow, basically dies. And there's like this scene where Elsa basically takes Bruce's body and rolls him into like this little chasm, this chasm, little opening, because but anyway, Joven basically, sorry about that. Joven is basically looking for Elsa. Uh, he takes his axe and he basically walks off. Um, Jack and Elsa meet up, and there's basically Jack runs into Elsa in this locked room, trying to run away from another one of the hunters, who are again trying to kill each other and thing. But The door gets locked, and basically he's just there, locked in a room, until basically Elsa basically cracks the glass on her aunt's tomb and grabs a key and unlocks the door. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, but before that, the whole locking, and finding the key because plot. Jack runs into basically gets grabbed by Man Thing, like in the teaser, and comes to find out that he's there to save Man Thing. They basically attach the bloodstone to Man Thing so he could get angry, so he could basically, you know, be violent, so it'd be more supporting for all the hunters. Joven catches up to Elsa. Well, Elsa actually yells at Joven, and Joven's about to kill her till he gets grabbed by Man Thing, and like Man Thing grabs him by the head, and basically Joven's face gets burns, and basically um, dies by the touch of Man Thing, because of course anyone who knows fear burns at the Man Thing's touch, and so that's the very first death that Man Thing basically, that's the first death by Man Thing. But anyway, so they release Man Thing via tiny bomb that basically basically blows out a wall, and Man Thing runs away. But don't worry, he comes back. Elsa and Jack gets captured after apparently Verussa somehow figures out that Jack's a monster himself. So they're locked in this cage, and basically Verussa uses the bloodstone to turn Jack into a werewolf. It's not a full moon, it's the bloodstone, which I'm okay with. But anyway, I'm okay with that change as long as it's not the bloodstone that basically turns him into a werewolf, all the time. But if so, I wouldn't give a shit about it, I guess. It's whatever. But anyway, Jack escapes and basically kills all the guards. They're not TVA agents, which I and others theorize they're just guards by, that the, what the fuck her name is. Basically, Verussa has kind of like the kind of batons that shoot electricity like the TVH. I don't know but anyway, basically Werewolf by Night basically slaughters everyone, tearing them to pieces. There's at one point, like blood spurts on the camera. You know, people getting slashed. Elsa basically cuts someone's throat open and basically uses the axe that she has to basically slams on someone's skull and basically open their skull open. You know, several like another throat gets slashed. There's like limbs and blood everywhere. And it's great. Um, it's just a great moment for the MCU that finally, you know, after all the bullshit with Miss Marvel and, talking to the Soldier, Hawkeye, She-Hulk, finally, um, as someone wrote, as someone commented on my Facebook posts, Marvel, the MCU finally has walls, which is the case here. Um, but yeah, there's so much blood. It's so good. Like I said, blood squirts on the camera. It's amazing. But anyway, basically basically Jack runs away. And the look, his werewolf look, I really liked. It's kind of like a callback to Lon Chaney's kind of werewolf look, cheap look, the hair and everything from the 30s. It's a really good callback there. But anyway, Jack runs away and basically um, Veruza, who is hiding, gets a gun and is about to basically shoot Elsa because she let the monster get away. And Man Thing basically jumps down from the ceiling and basically grabs grabs Veruza, basically burns her and uh, throws her so hard into Ulysses' coffin that his head like basically um, rolls out of the coffin, like detaches, rolls out of the coffin onto the floor. It's just great. Um, Man Thing, who is called Ted here, not Man Thing. Hopefully, he's called Man Thing later on, like I said in my post. But anyway, Ted asks where Jack is, and Elsa tells her, and and he goes to find Jack, which he does. Elsa gets the bloodstone, and the servant, who is now a servant for Elsa instead of for Veruza, asks, how can he serve? He's here to serve Elsa now. And Elsa says, well, pick up all this shit, all the dead bodies. She says, pick up, you can start by picking up all this shit. Basically sits down in a chair and basically switches from black and white to color, which is okay, I guess. I'm okay with that. That it switched to color in the very end. Over the Rainbow plays, which I'm okay with. I thought it was pretty cool. Again, a little 30s callback there, because it was out of Oz. But anyway, then it switches to Jack waking up in a forest, in a little tent made of sticks, shelter made of sticks, basically, and finds basically Ted, Man Thing, not Swamp Thing, Man Thing, sitting on a log. Man Thing gives him some tea and basically, or actually coffee, I'm sorry. coffee. They joke around about how Man Thing basically saved Jack, and Jack's like, "Well, I'm the one that saved you all the time." And then it ends with them, Man Thing asking about food in you know, typical MCU fashion. I guess a callback to Avengers ending. Uh, Instead of shawarma, it's they go get sushi, and that's basically the end. And I give Man Thing's look a 10 out of 10 because he looks amazing. He has like mushrooms growing out on one of his shoulders, all the way to his a bit to his arms. He looks fantastic. This is um, a very good introduction to Man Thing, a very good introduction to Werewolf by Night. And I gotta say, all around, a very, very good short. And hopefully, um, what happens now is just like was planned. A series is made for Werewolf by Night. Um, if not, then it would be a shame because I give this because this is really it's a really good short, and I give this short actual really good high rating of actually really good high rating of 9 out of 10. So it's a 9 out of 10 for me. Go see it. Werewolf by Night. It's on Disney Plus now. Go see Hellraiser, even though like I said, it's a rip off of fucking Hellraiser 2, but that's okay. Whatever. Still a good film. And I will see you guys later. And hope everyone has a good Friday night later. Because I gotta go go to bed, because I have to go to work at 5 in the morning.
Later, dudes.
Catch you guys later. That's the one I was looking for. Damn it. Later, guys.